नबोल्ने. Okay. So yesterday we had discussed on demographic components, and this among demographic components, birth, death, and migration, right? Birth, death, and migration. Is birth, as we know, birth increase the number of population, right? When the woman give birth to the baby, then the population of that area can be increased. And similarly, death, that decrease the population. If someone die in particular area, then the population of particular area might be increased. And similarly, out migration and in migration, that means migration, if there is in migration, the population will increase within a particular area, and if the people migrate from the place to another place, then the the place where they go, the population can be increased in the place where they go, and um, the population decrease from where the or where they left the place. जहाँ उनीहरूले छोड्छन् त्यो ठाउँमा घट्छ, जहाँ उनीहरू जान्छन् त्यो ठाउँमा के गर्छ, बढ्छ भनेको यो within a place or within a area. Okay. So हामीले अब के गर्ने भने these three are the components, demographic components. A demographic can be calculated with the help of these three components. Number one, death, birth, and migration, right? Death, birth, and migration. And in migration, there is in migration and out migration, and the size of population, distribution of population, the population change can be calculated with the help of these components. We have written up to here. Now, I am showing you the demographic measurement, how the demographic can be measured. You can see on the screen that there is the fertility rate, mortality rate, and migration rate, right? We studied that's demographic measurement components, right? In the same way, we are talking on demographic measurement now. First, we talked about demographic, and then population change and management. And first, we described demographic components, and then process. We read demographic components and process. Process means that are death, birth, or migration, or these are death. Birth is called fertility, death, mortality, and migration. Okay, and now demographic measurement. How the demographic can be measured? See, it can be measured with the three measurement. One, fertility rate, another, mortality rate, and last one, migration rates. Fertility rates, mortality rates, and migration rates. That is जन्म दर, यो मृत्यु दर, र यो बसाइ सराइ दर. Fertility rate refers as जन्म दर, mortality मृत्यु दर, and migration rate, that is बसाइ सराइको दर. है, यसबाट हामीले we can conclude that these are the three measurement of demography. We can find out the size, that's let's say, yeah, size, composition, distribution, population change with the help of these three measurements. And that's fertility rate can be measured with the help of CBR, GFR, ASFR, and TFR. That is acute birth rate. CBR stands for acute birth rate, and general fertility rate, that is GFR, and age-specific fertility rate, ASFR, and total fertility rate, TFR. That means we will discuss separately with the help of formula. Okay, and so similarly, mortality rate can be measure within within these norms or within this rate. That means CDR. Likewise, CBR, here is mortality, CDR, acute death rate. Okay, and a specific death rate. It means within a age, no, and that's infant mortality rate and child mortality rate. And similarly, there is another under 5 child mortality rate, U5MR, right? That is next measure or measurement, that is U5 U5 young R. That means under 5 years old child mortality rate. That means, and similarly, migration rate can be calculated with the help of in migration rate IMR, out migration rate OMR, and gross migration rate GMR. Okay, so now you can copy this table. Please write up. If finished, please let me know. If finished, now I'm talking to the another topic, that is demographic process. The demographic process is as similar as demographic components, but it measures with different words. There are mainly three processes changing the population. They are fertility, mortality, and migration. Especially three basic process. No, three basic process are responsible in changing population. Number one, fertility. That means birth. Mortality. That means death. And migration, which means migrate from one to another, or the process of moving from one place to another is known as migration. And mortality, similarly, fertility increase the number of population, mortality decrease the number of population. In migration, increase the number of population within a place or area, within a particular area from where where people come from outside, or that's out migration, where people go outside. Means out migration decrease, in migration increase. That is the demographic process. Means especially in these three are responsible for changing the population size, population distribution, and population content. Okay, so you can also write this. Can write this also. So the next one is measures of fertility. Say measures of fertility now. What do you mean by fertility?
Birth.
Only birth. Okay. Now, what do you mean by fertility?
Increase the number of people.
And then others. What do you mean by fertility? What is the exact definition?
It is the process of giving birth, and
fertility is the process of giving birth to the baby, right? Fertility is the process of giving birth to the baby, or to the new baby in this world, is known as fertility. Right? That there is two terms. Sometimes these two terms come synonymously. That's this one, fertility and fecundity. Fertility र fecundity भन्ने दुईवटा टर्महरू छन् है. तिनीहरू समटाइम कहिलेकाहीँ के गर्छन् भन्दा सिनोनियम है सिनोनियमसली आउने गर्छन् है र नर्मल्ली वी अन्डरस्ट्यान्ड दिस टु टर्म आर सिमिलर राइट बट दिस हेभ a bit different है तिनीहरुमा के छ फरक छ okay we will talk about these two terms later on now see on the screen there is the measures of fertility especially the study of human fertility occupies a vital position in the study of population dynamic for several reasons. It is very useful and it is necessary to take the data or to collect data about the fertility or human fertility for various purposes or for various or several reasons. Fertility is the, you can focus here, fertility is the, see, fertility is the process of giving birth to the baby by a woman. By a woman. हो त यो भनेको के हो भने कुनै एउटा महिलाले बच्चालाई जन्म दिने प्रक्रियालाई के भनिन्छ इज कल्ड फर्टिलिटी है प्रजनन दर भन्छ प्रजनन but it is also called reproduction. Okay, usually the age between 15 to 49 years of women is considered as the reproductive period, especially the age between 15 to 49 is known as or considered as the reproductive period. Sometimes the word fertility and fecundity are used synonymously, but the meaning is quite different. The difference between fertility and fecundity is shown below. Here, we call fertility and fecundity equally. No, okay, but this has a but difference between fertility and fecundity. Hey, there is some difference. Fertility and next one, fecundity. Say fertility and fecundity. So there is some differences. Okay, there is some differences between fertility and fecundity. We'll talk about it later. Copy it. Okay, finished.
Done, sir.
Okay, turn. Then this much for today. Okay, we'll talk about the differences. Okay, difference between fertility and fecundity in our next class. Okay. So these are the measures of fertility. Especially fertility is the process of giving birth to the baby by women. It is also called reproduction. Usually the age between 50 to 49 years of women is considered as the reproductive period. Sometimes the word fertility and fecundity are used synonymously, but the meaning is quite different. The difference between fertility and fecundity is found below. This much for today. We will talk about the differences between these two in our next class. Thank you for your participation. Okay, bye bye.